Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating case study covering flavor science and consumer behavior. We're going to unpack exactly how a wildly successful snack brand builds on its foundational recipes to meet our ever-shifting demands. I mean, if you've ever wondered how the chips in your pantry went from simple comforts to these crazy, complex, fiery experiences, well, you're definitely in the right place. So how exactly did this iconic snack evolve from a simple cheese flavor to aggressive heat? Let's dive right into this incredible evolutionary arc. We'll be tracking how our own consumer palates didn't just change, but actually drove a whole timeline of serious flavor innovation. It's really a masterclass in taking a beloved product and continually reinventing it, all without losing the core identity that made it famous in the first place.
Section 1, the classic foundations.
Okay, so this timeline brilliantly illustrates our journey today. We're starting with the absolute classic anchor points, the 1970s and the 1980s, before we watch things escalate dramatically into the bold heat and mashups of the modern era. This timeline is basically a map of our changing taste buds over the last 50 years.
Let's start right at the beginning with nacho cheese. When most people hear the brand name, this is exactly the flavor that pops into their head, right? Introduced back in the 1970s, it quickly became the brand's signature product. It features a very deliberate signature blend: cheese, garlic, onion, and a specific mix of savory seasonings. Getting that precise balance of crunch, saltiness, and rich, cheesy flavor, well, it didn't just make a good chip. It made this the brand's undeniable signature product, and honestly, one of the world's most successful snack foods ever.
But then, the 1980s arrive, and Cool Ranch offers a completely different experience. Instead of leaning on that heavy, savory cheese foundation, Cool Ranch pivoted completely. It combines herbs, garlic, onion, tomato, and a creamy ranch-inspired seasoning. The result? A flavor that feels remarkably lighter and much more herbal. They somehow managed to give us a totally different sensory experience, while brilliantly keeping that exact same crunchy corn chip base. And, to this day, it remains one of their best-selling varieties. But here's the ultimate challenge every legacy brand faces. How do you actually evolve a classic flavor? When you've got two absolute juggernauts like nacho cheese and Cool Ranch, where in the world do you go next? This brings us to a fascinating narrative hinge for the brand, and really for the whole snack industry. Section 2, the spicy escalation. So the crucial point here is that the brand smartly took their existing, beloved cheesy formula and simply layered on the heat to create spicy nacho. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel. The famous cheese flavor stays firmly at the center, but they infuse this noticeable layer of chili peppers and spicy seasonings to create a much stronger kick. It was essentially the perfect stepping stone for people wanting more intensity, but without moving too far away from the classic taste they already knew and loved.
But of course, as our collective tolerance for spice grew, so did the snacks. The result is both cheesy and aggressively spicy. That aggressive heat completely defines the Flamin Hot nacho. They took the brand's famous cheese flavor and just violently collided it with the fiery seasoning associated with Flamin Hot snacks. It's a fantastic example of taking a known quantity and pushing it right to the absolute edge of the consumer's comfort zone.
And this matters tremendously because we, the consumers, are the driving force here. This wasn't just some random flavor test in a lab. It was a major strategic shift. The brand was aggressively overhauling its flavor profile to reflect our growing demand for hotter snack foods and bold flavors. We wanted stronger heat levels, and they engineered a way to deliver it without losing their signature identity. Section 3, mashups and complex flavors. Experiencing Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch is quite literally a sequential journey for your taste buds. It blends two wildly popular ideas into one single chip. When you first take a bite, step 1 happens. That familiar, creamy, cool, herb-based ranch seasoning hits the palate. But then, step 2 kicks in. A peppery, spicy finish sneaks up and continuously builds after each bite. It perfectly contrasts the creamy flavors against the peppery heat, creating one of their absolute most distinctive and memorable varieties yet. And then we have sweet chili heat. Just look at this ingredient profile: sugar, garlic, soy-inspired notes, and chili peppers. They're pulling direct inspiration from Asian-style sweet chili sauces to achieve this really precise balance of sweetness and spice. It's a masterful flavor construction where the chip actually starts slightly sweet on the tongue before the heat slowly but surely becomes noticeable. So when we put it all together side by side, the contrast is stark. On one side, we've got our traditional classics, relying on those savory cheese and creamy ranch foundations. On the other, we have our modern mashups, perfectly exemplified by sweet chili heat, where you're taken on a ride from sweet to hot in a matter of seconds. This unique profile showcases exactly how far the brand has successfully expanded beyond its traditional 1970s and 1980s origins, right into globally inspired, multidimensional snacking. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've gone from simple nacho cheese all the way to sweet soy-inspired chili heat. As our craving for intensity continues to escalate globally, it really leaves you wondering, what extreme flavor combination will shifting consumer palates demand next? And how will the snacking landscape be forced to adapt tomorrow? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes and definitely your taste buds open for whatever comes next.